Oregon and Washington are two of 17 states with laws protecting abortions. Now that Roe v. Wade has been overturned, we have been receiving statements from our local legislatures saying they will fight to protect abortion rights here. But as we told you, states' laws can now change on the issue depending on future state bills put into law or voted on by citizens. We want to bring in Ben Gaskins, political science professor at Lewis and Clark College, for his live analysis of this ruling. Ben, thanks for being here. A lot of people wondering what this means for abortion rights access nationwide going forward, including Oregon and Washington down the road, even though it's protected in our states right now.
That's right. And as you said, we will have two separate sets of laws around the country where many states like South Dakota and Alabama, who've moved already to effectively ban abortion from the moment of conception, will be able to enforce those laws, where states like Oregon and Washington will be able to more or less carry on as usual with their abortion laws that are on the books as well. And there's nothing in this ruling that prevents states from maintaining a very open abortion laws. I think one of the next big debates will be for things like medicated abortion, where you can get pills that will allow people to have an abortion at home through the mail. This morning, Merrick Garland said that those procedures will be able to continue, that that access to abortion pills will continue nationwide, but many states that are going to put in bans on abortion within their state borders are also attempting to kind of clamp down on the ability to send or receive abortion pills in the mail. So that's going to, I think, be the next area for conflict, especially between the federal government and more restrictive states right now.
Very interesting. Okay, so we want to take a look at Justice Samuel Alito's statement from his opinion. It reads, quote, "Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. Its reasoning was exceptionally weak, and the decision has had a damaging consequences. It's time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives." What did you make of his opinion?
Well, this is really the culmination of almost 50 years of conservative legal reasoning that has taken Roe v. Wade as this exemplar of federal overreach, of, in their mind, kind of inventing a right out of whole cloth that doesn't exist in the text of the Constitution. And so the whole idea of a right to privacy that Roe v. Wade was grounded on is something that conservative legal theorists have been pushing against, again, for 50 years. And what Alito is saying is really, again, the encapsulation and the victory of that effort to try to roll back the right to privacy as something in the guaranteed by the Constitution.
I was looking at Twitter before the show. A lot of people on social media concerned about not only this, but Clarence Thomas's statements regarding other cases, regarding same-sex marriage, regarding contraception. How big of a concern should that be at this point?
Well, it seems to be a very big concern, especially for people on the political left, that these, the rights to same-sex marriage, in particular contraception, are built on kind of the same legal reasoning that Roe v. Wade was built on, and that a 5-4 majority that is willing to overturn 50 years of precedent for access to abortion would have no problem overturning, 7 years of precedent when it comes to the rights of same-sex marriage. So I would not be surprised at all for these kinds of cases on contraception, on states' desire to ban same-sex marriage within their own borders, within their own laws, will make its way to the Supreme Court. And I think there is a very good chance, as Justice Thomas outlined, that at least 5 justices under the court as it stands would be willing to overturn those decisions as well. And so I think this is kind of a marker for where the court is heading when it has 6, strong conservatives on the court and 5 that are definitely willing to overturn precedent in order to implement their judicial vision.
How did former President Trump's term in office ultimately affect this vote? I mean, he obviously appointed several of these justices, and that's one way.
Yeah, you can't overstate the importance of the 2016 election for getting us to where we are today. That by replacing Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Anthony Kennedy with more consistently conservative justices on the issue of privacy and abortion, moved the court away from one where there's more of an institutional approach to this issue, where John Roberts would be unwilling to make a sweeping change to precedent to one that is much more bold in how it addresses social issues, the right to privacy, and abortion as well. So the court today is just qualitatively different than it was just 6 or 7 years ago. And 6 or 7 years ago, before Trump's term in office, the court would not have made this kind of ruling. But today, there are 5 justices that are clearly willing to do so, and 3 of which come from were nominated by President Trump.
All right. Well, Ben Gaskins, thank you so much for your insight on this historic day. No matter where people stand on this issue, it's a big moment in history for the U.S. And I'm sure we'll be checking in with you again in the weeks and months to follow.
Thank you for having me.